Yeah, what's going on?
Not much. You're going live soon, right?
Yeah.
No, I just thought I would do a pre-show because I haven't done one for a while. I was like, well, I have like 30 minutes to an hour, so I was like, I'll just do something.
Yeah.
No reason why.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people are depressed lately, honestly. Like a general mood.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, I don't really feel like I don't know. It's like it's not like a super serious like I'm depressed thing, but it's like just a general mood, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I've
think
been
it's
kind of
just
the opposite.
nice. I need to. I
Kind
need
of
to. I
weird.
need to get. I need to do whatever you're doing. Probably the
Yeah, I don't
fasting
know.
helps.
Yeah, the fasting pretty much helped. Yeah. I know, like, getting back into the fasting too
Yeah, I've been
is,
fast.
yeah.
No, yeah, I've been fasting a little bit, kind of towards the end
Right.
of yeah, I guess the end of your guys' is like Lent. I don't know. I think Christians Lent or something still going on. I'm not sure, but I think tomorrow's the end of it, right? Sunday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it wasn't on purpose. It was just like, I don't want to be fat anymore, pretty much. So I was like, okay, I'll just stop eating as much. But what I mean is
Yeah.
like I think what I mean by depression for me is like, I don't want to go out in public anymore. Yeah, like I don't really like going out in public places as much. Like I do it all the time, so it's not like I'm not like a social person, but it's like I'm not really interested in most people like I used to. I used to be very interested in people, but like now the older I get, it's like people don't really like. I just get really disappointed by people like out in public. I don't like the general feeling I get from most people. Which is kinda weird, like, I want to. I see potential, I don't know. So, I think that's what I mean by it. It's like being around a lot of people. It might be San Francisco. I think there's something weird about San Francisco for sure too. It's like, maybe I'd feel differently in, like, a different place. I'm not sure. You don't strike me as a guy who, like, goes out to the middle of, like, the day market or night market and, like, see a bunch of people or something, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a recluse. I don't go anywhere, pretty much. I just go to the grocery store and come back.
That might be why you're not depressed. There you go. See,
Yeah,
if
if
you
I
actually
go to
went
the
out in
park,
public, you might get depressed.
if I go to the park, I just go alone. So I'm just like, I either go like stare at the same lake that's near my house, or yeah, and usually I'll just go there to sit down and read a book. So there's not really that much going on as I go out of my house. But yeah,
Isn't that
I don't really.
but do you feel that's kind of like a weird way to live though, that like there's not a lot of human interaction when you go outside of your domicile? Or do you think that's always been the
Um,
case where people just ignore each other and shit?
it's definitely becoming more of a trend, and I would obviously say it's because of the cell phones, right? That people ignore each other, right? I think like the TV was there so you could ignore your family, but the cell phone is kind of there so you could ignore society. All right, so it's kind of like more of a depersonalization.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, honestly. Like, I don't know if you had this experience, but I would definitely say that like our generation was raised by TV for sure.
Yeah, and if you notice,
You know.
like that's the thing in the Wonder Years, like the dad is watching the TV, and and he doesn't care what's going on around him, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, dude, that's crazy. I haven't thought about that show in a long time. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but no, that's a good point. I mean, and I think that's part of it going. I think that's part of what's going on too. Like, I think a lot of older people got sucked in. Like, that's kind of interesting too. Like, people always talk about the kids, but people don't think about the adults that get sucked into it, right? Like, definitely, it's sucked in a lot of adults that are like, they feel like nothing or invisible in their own family or life, so they go into the phone or the entertainment or whatever it is. That's interesting, yeah. I never really it's kind of like it gives you like a pseudo confidence or something too. Like, I don't know if you've ever met somebody who has like a decent amount of like following, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe as a especially like I think women it's easier to see, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where they like on their phone they have like a lot of people interested and engaged in what they're doing, but then if you talk to about them about like what they have going on outside of that, they don't really have anything going on, I guess, or something. But yeah, that's interesting. Like, the dad, so you're saying like the dad was disengaged, and I guess now the phone, like you said, like now people are disengaged from real life, like society, but also like even their own friend group, or like, so it's like you give up the family with the TV, and now with the cell phone, you give up just like everything in general. Like, there's this guy saying today, showing that the military people where like all these people are supposed to be like in basic training or like they're in the military and shit, and like literally they're just like doing TikTok stuff all day on the phone, like on their phone, pretty much. So it's like, like it's like like basically it's like the military looks like summer camp or some shit.
Yeah, because it's like remember like when they had the Iraq War and it was like all on CNN and 24/7 they'd have like people running around and filming shit. It was like some crazy like fucking weird shit where it's like you just turn on the CNN and you'd see the war, but that doesn't happen anymore. Now it's like all on like YouTube and TikTok where these people are posting themselves in the war, like and saying like we're on duty. I have my cell phone here. Take a picture of this Iranian civilian.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty. Yeah, that's a good point though. It is pretty weird. It is pretty weird. It's I don't know. I think the cell phone is
Yeah,
the greatest weapon ever invented for sure. Like, I
yeah.
think
Some
it's
of my
like the
family got
greatest.
sent over there. You know, it was kind of hardcore. You know, right? Their parents are
So,
depressed for sure. Right? They're like,
oh, you
oh
mean
shit.
you mean recently? You mean
Yeah, yeah,
recently they got sent over?
yeah, yeah. Their
Holy
parents
shit.
are pissed, depressed. Yeah, man. Sad.
Well,
But
it's
yeah,
funny
obviously.
because like I like there's like these giant graveyards that I go by sometimes, and so my son finally asked what one of them is, and we had to say that's where the dead people are resting or whatever. And he had some really
Yeah,
interesting like
it's like the white
thoughts
crosses
about
where you
that.
see like a bunch of white
Yep,
crosses and stuff.
yep. And yeah, it's one of those that all the headstones look the same. So yeah, it is like it's kind of like that, yeah. And it's like so you can't miss it, right? And then and it's not the first time he's been to one. It's just like when you're passing by it, you just
Yeah,
cannot
and
mistake
also
what
like
it is.
the
Yeah.
55th like platoon or whatever it'll like say or whatever.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a military graveyard, and so I have to. We're trying to explain to him like, well, what is a war?
yeah,
Why are
like
these
they
people
literally all
dead?
went in there to
Yeah,
die together. Like it's crazy. Like they were all on the same
and
team. Like it's even more weirder than you could think because it's like these were all people on the same ass squad that died together. Like they probably knew each other. You're like walking, it's
right,
like a
they
collective grave.
yeah they probably all got sent off to die. They all got sent off to
Yeah,
die, knowing that they're gonna die probably too. Or some shit. But the hard part of explaining it is like, you know, like, are these people heroes or not? That's the thing I have to like. I don't really know how to explain that 'cause it's like, or like, why did they die? It's like, well, do you say, well, they died for a lie, or they died because they're heroes, or they died because they had no choice, or they died for a paycheck, or like there's a lot of answers you can give to to that question. You know what I mean? So, did they die for our freedom? You know what I mean? That's another one.
Yeah, I mean they died for Israel. Let's face it. Or no, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, well, that was the first thing I was gonna say. Ironically, but I was gonna say, did they die for Zog? But I hate to say that, but it's like, yeah, it's like I hate to laugh about it because it's really not funny. But like, I almost signed my life away on the dotted line, so I think about it a lot because like I really signed the sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, here, hold on a second. I'm getting a call here. Just I'll play a video and I'll be right back. No. Yeah, you there? Oh. Well, you know, we're going live on the Machine Lies. Let's see, this is a Machine Lies pre-show, right? The Machine Lies, right? So yeah, we'll be on that channel, right? It's at the Machine Lies 9534, I believe. So yeah, so go check us out. We're doing a show, multiple topics. We'll see who will come through on the panel. It's random guests on the panel. It's just an open panel call-in show. But I usually introduce numerous topics, right?
Yo, my bad, dude.
Yeah, it's all
Got
good.
a fucking phone call. Um, and it's extremely loud, so I had to like answer really quick because it's like but blowing my brains out
Yeah, I
how
got a
loud it
call
is.
too. Yeah, my bad. Yep.
No, you're good. But can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you. But yeah,
All
I
right,
don't know
cool,
if
cool.
you heard me say I had to go because I had a call. But yeah,
Oh
that's
no,
pretty
no,
weird.
I didn't hear you. No, I got a
That's
call at
really
the same
weird,
time.
dude. Because you had
Yeah,
a call at the same time, dude. That's
yeah.
tripped out,
It's
isn't
like,
it?
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But if you got to go, then I understand. But
No, no, I'm good. Yep.
careful. But yeah, it was pretty weird. Yeah, I got a phone call exact same time as you, I guess, because I was only in there for like 15 seconds, so 20 seconds.
Yeah,
So
it's strange. Yeah.
crazy. But probably talking about Zogs. You know, Zog got to use their magic to like get us off the internet or something.
Right.
But no, it's like it's for real because I almost signed my fucking life away on the dotted line. You know, and
Yeah.
I think about it a lot, like how different my life would have been if I had just done that. You know, and because like I do think the idea of being in the military is very honorable, but I don't think like I'll be like this is fucked up to say and people won't understand this, but like I don't think America has been in a righteous war since like, you know, for sure after 1865, like for
Yeah.
sure. Like in my opinion, in my personal opinion. Like I don't think anything they've done since then war wise has really been justifiable at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know, and that's not because like I'm some like racist guy who wants to like enslave black people or something. I just think that like I think people truly did believe what they were doing in that war and before that, and I don't think it had much to do with slavery. But since then, it's like pretty much like that was like the clamping down on like, you know, people having their own fucking opinion about what we're doing or anything. You know, like I don't think World War I was justifiable. I don't think World War II was justifiable. I mean,
It's like everybody's saying like, oh, we be speaking, I don't know if you ever heard this, but when I was a kid, people say, well, we'd be speaking German if we didn't go fight those things. It's like, again, I don't like Hitler or anything. I'm just saying like, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, this okay, you remember Gypsy Crusader? Um, so he was hanging out with this guy named Jake Shields, and he's been over to Israel and shit. So it's pretty weird guy, pretty weird dude. And I guess he recently went to Vietnam. This Jake Shields, like MMA fighter, and he's like everybody says communism's a problem, but then he's like I go to Vietnam and like their like their place to live is really safe and all this. And that was kind of my experience of going over to Asia. Like there's some definitely bad things about it, but in general terms, like you're like the average person's like got a lot more sanity in their life than we have over here in some regards, right? Like they're more family oriented, they have more of like a normal, like they don't think in political terms all the time. You know what I mean? Like they're not sitting there thinking about like what does it mean to be an American and all, like they don't really think like that. So anyways, I don't know. It's interesting because then this other person said about him saying well, isn't it funny that people uh go from a capitalist country where their money's worth not as much and they go to a poor communist country and then they can spend a lot of money and it skews their views of things because communism's really bad and you know because they can actually afford things they feel like it's communism not as bad as it really is or something. But I don't know. I'm not sure how this ties back to the whole war thing, but generally speaking, uh, I try to think of all the scenarios where we don't continue to go to war. Well, like I don't know. It, I think when you say that like there's going to be a Pax Israel, people can't see it, but it really is just the technology, right? And it's also not that they're going to be in control of it. It's just that they're the ones kind of like installing it into the
Right, right. It's like how the
earth. You know?
U.S. has pretty much like been controlled this entire time while it's been like at the helm, and so pretty much, yeah.
At the helm. Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is like I am proud to be an American for a lot of reasons, but on the other side, like if I'm being honest, um, America is kind of like the toy slave of the technology. Let's just put it that way. Like because I think the Zog thing is like it's real, but it's also like I think that I think that Zog is a slave of the system, if that makes any sense, right? Like I think they're like top tier slaves. We're like second class slaves.
Well, that's because it's like this whole like project that like Avian Buddha read on the show from last time. The Vilna Gaon, like they believe technological mastery is like a fulfillment of like the Torah and all that stuff. So they're mixing up two different things, and the thing they're building is actually the wrong way. So it's like, yeah, they're like deceiving themselves into like building something that's ultimately going to betray themselves, pretty much. So
Right, right,
they seem like
exactly. And
ultimately, yeah, like the
yeah, no, that's
biggest losers. Yeah, like you can't be a bigger loser than that, pretty much.
well, it kind of clicked for me today. Like I took a nap because I was really like not feeling good. I had like this like congestion and shit, so I took a little something to get rid of it. It made me really sleepy. So I woke up and the first thought I had was whites are now second class Jews. We have no homeland. We're basically a diaspora. You know what I mean? And if you see that whole right shift of like back, so like a lot of right wing dissidents went from like being pro against Israel and Jews. Now they're swinging the whole neocon thing all the way back around to like full circle back to like to be on the right, you have to be all going to get overrun by the Philistines or the Jews. I mean, or the Muslims or the blacks or whatever whatever it is. And it seems like this is a key piece that they've been like. I think. See, what's interesting is I think this has been a project for a long time, and maybe this is what the whole Enlightenment was about: is to get Europeans unrooted from wherever they came from.
Well, it's kind of like this. It's like they had to make white people think they're Jews so that the Jews could become white. Pretty much, like, and it's
I think
like
we
that's
talked
kind of
about
like,
this before. I feel like we talked about this before or something. But yeah,
well, it's
I have like deja
Mitronovic.
vu. Yeah,
It's like a quote by Mitronovic that I read. Where he says like Europe was put in like a special position to make like white Jews or whatever.
right. Well, I think being on Twitter has really taught me this because you really notice that. And shout out to Browns Boy because Browns Boy does have a good way of pointing this out. Whenever people start saying like we or implying we, pretty often it is kind of this little dichotomy we're talking about where it's like today I'm white, tomorrow I'm a Jew. You know what I mean? It's like just like whenever it's convenient, like today it's like we're Americans, and tomorrow it's like oh well, Americans can be anybody. If you just got here yesterday or you're planning to come here, you're an American now, right? And I think it's not. And again, I think a lot of it is just to catch you in like uh in some sort of like hatred or something, so you can't really see that like America really always has been. I mean, let's just say it frankly, it's always been kind of a Jewish creation in some form or another. Now, I don't think that all the white people involved thought of it that way at the time. And this is kind of why I was talking to like Rat Blood and stuff. Like I was kind of trying to figure out what he's saying about Freemasonry. Like, you know, see themselves as both those cursed by Cain, or is it actually one and not the other? And there's trying to be some sort of like confusion about, you know, who's the descendant of Cain, something like that.
Well, the
And if that's the
pre-Adamite,
case, either way, who's the
you know,
right?
there's this whole pre-Adamite idea, right? Where you know, there's other races of people on Earth, and then Adam is one of those, right? That represents a different type of being, but of the same sort of ilk, like as the rest of like these species. So then it's like, who did like Adam and Eve and their sons and their daughters sort of mate with would be these people that were like there. But then they say like some of these people were like of a lesser quality. So then they polluted the seed of man and so on and so forth. And like some of these, like there's two or three people came on my show who said that Eve actually had sex with Satan and then conceived of Cain, right? And it's kind of like hey man, that's my mama. You talking about that? You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's kind of weird, but it kind of makes you feel weird. Like, what are you saying? Like the mother of humanity was like slept with Satan? Like that's kind of disparaging to all of us, right?
Should I guess.
Oh no, I can't hear you if you're talking. It's like a bunch of clicking noises or whatever. Fucking yeah, man.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like your audio is going in and out or whatever. I heard you say hello, but I can't hear anything. Yeah, you might want to go out and come back in. This shit is the thing is all fucked.
That was pretty weird. All right, my bad. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool. My bad. Sorry, I went through a dead zone and then like the service came back, but you couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear you. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So okay. So you're saying that there it's kind of like the mixed multitudes, and that's kind of why it wiped us out with the flood and shit. And then, but
I'm
so they're
not saying
definitely
I'm
playing.
not saying this. I'm saying that this was like a sort of kabbalistic
Right, right, right,
mapping onto world history by the people who were deciphering the Bible. So
right, right, right. And so, and I know you got
it,
to go soon.
by the way, this links to the whole concept of like some sort of racial teleology in the Bible because it's a
Right.
pre-Adamite hypothesis.
Like, and I don't know how you feel about it, and you don't have to tell me, but like for me, I'm not so sure that the Bible is like really racially motivated per se, like in the way that people are taking it, like what you're saying there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, like you're saying, like, and I think this is kind of what,
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
obviously.
and I agree with you, but what I'm saying is uh, like some reason this is kind of what comes up in my mind about what Gnostic informant is kind of like nervous about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't quite understand your conversation with them, but can you kind of like give me a very brief understanding of what you were talking about with him?
I was
Since I don't
trying to
think he'll
see
see this, but
where he stands, test him out on whether he believes Gnosticism, mythicism, whether he believes Paul was real, Jesus was real, what other people believe about him, whether he believes that the Ebionites were correct, whether he believes Paul was a subordinationist, right? He answered that he believes that Paul didn't write all the letters. He believes that basically Paul is a subordinationist. He understood my point that the Ebionites and Arius are sort of linked, in the fact that they're not saying that Jesus is sort of an eternal part of God, so on and so forth, right? So
right, right, right,
so I was just so I didn't really get much to the Paul part, but then I wanted to ask him a few things about Paul and his other positions on and look like we also got into it about pre-Jewish Gnosticism. So he does think that there's some validity to that claim that I've been making on my show.
right,
So he presented a bunch of evidence that actually that was right on point because the Sethians and the Ophites are talking about the Jewish Bible. They're not talking about Jesus that much, right? They must be pretty much Jews, offshoot
right,
of Jews, and not Christians. So they're so yeah so and by the way, he's not a Gnostic. He's a Neoplatonist, and I confirmed that from him
right,
because I was
right,
watching a debate where he claimed that he was a Neoplatonist deist instead of a Gnostic
right.
Christian. Which I guess from his name, people would suspect
Well,
he may be one.
it so and what's interesting is that if Christianity is Middle Platonism and he's a Neoplatonist, like, isn't his beef kind of like, how would you characterize it? Like, if Christianity is seeing itself as like, yeah, yeah,
He said that he said that he's not a Gnostic because Gnostics are against like the world. They're too much against the world. But so
right,
are
right, right,
Platonists. Platonists say the world is an imitation of the forms. So they're not like, they don't think it's like way better,
Right.
right?
Well,
But yeah.
well, specifically Neoplatonists seem more so than the Middle Platonists, which is kind of interesting,
Oh
at least
yeah,
as far as I understand, right? So it's like,
yeah.
you
So
know, so and so again, like,
yeah, because Socrates, like in the
yeah,
Phaedo, he's like, yeah, it's not about the body; it's all about the spirit. So like that's
interesting,
basically what he's like. Yeah, the flesh, the body, it'll just drag you down, like to this world. Like this world is just basically false. Like it's all crazy. Right? So yeah, how could you find salvation through this world if you're a Platonist? You really can't. Right? It would always be by higher spiritual contemplation, right, and reflection on the
right?
forms.
Which kind of rejects the experience here, which again kind of leads me to think that's kind of Gnostic, right? Like, it's like if you're just totally rejecting everything about the experience you're having here, it's like, well,
Well, that definitely
you know,
influenced them, right? So because Plato is influencing Gnosticism to a huge degree. I think maybe Neil
right?
would agree with that. But I want to
Interesting,
know
yeah.
if he thinks that Neoplatonism influenced the Kabbalah, right? That would be a nice, interesting thing to get into with him. because I've seen because I have a bunch of rabbis saying it does. So maybe he disagrees.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm just thinking of Nick Land right now for some reason that's who keeps coming to my mind about that. But because he's definitely selling a very particular brand of like white people paganism, right? And so, but the other side is this, like, what would you say Judaism is? Like the Judaism that you and I are talking about that we're concerned with as far as like Zog and all this, like if they're not really like actual Jews, you know, from like 2000 years ago, like are they just Gnostics, or are they like, how would you characterize like this kind of like I don't know if Sabbatean Frankism is like the ruling class, or Chabad Lubavitch is like the ruling class of Zog, but whatever this is based, and maybe we'd have to deduce it based on their actions, but what form of belief it, because it's like a racial component, it's a hierarchical like class component. There seems to be some sort of like reincarnation component to it, in my opinion, at least through the bloodline and stuff like this.
Well,
So like,
that's the thing
you
that
know,
he seems to be getting weird about because he's a mythicism about Judaism, but he didn't seem to be when he was talking to Tobias Singer. So because it seemed like he
right.
retracted some of those positions when he was talking to Tobias. So I don't
Right,
know.
exactly. That's
Maybe
and
we
that's
could.
kind and again, this isn't like to like if Neil ever watches this, like this isn't to like beat him up and say he's dishonest, because like I'm sure
Well,
you could take
well, to be
things that I
honest,
said or whatever.
well,
But
well, for clarity purposes, we did kind of beat him up about the Tobias Singer thing, but it's a general theme on our show. We're pretty
yeah,
just we like to push the limits, and it's no
well, yeah.
offense to
Look,
anybody.
and here's the thing: is like, look, I definitely have a lot of disagreements with Tobias Singer, but I do think that he is someone that you cannot underestimate. Like, he is
Yeah.
not
Oh
a
yeah.
dumbass
Yeah.
person at
Definitely
all.
not. Yeah. Yeah.
He's not
Definitely
someone
not.
to
Yeah.
be underestimated. Like, he knows what he's talking about. He's very, 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 very
Yeah.
well
I
studied
wouldn't
on what he's talking about.
underestimate any of those guys, even
Yeah.
Shmuley, even right.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would.
100. Dude,
Yeah. Dude.
Shmuley is deceivingly intelligent person, and
Yeah.
again,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and here's the thing is like, and this is kind of why I ended my comment with Gnostic Informant about the whole noble lie thing. Like, look, there could be an argument to be had about noble lies or narratives telling. I mean, it's like look, all of Hollywood is essentially like Jews telling stories, and people think it's all about like indoctrination and this and that. I don't necessarily think it's only indoctrination or deception or something like that. I think like, and I think part of it's having a kid is like, look, you don't tell the kid every thought that comes across your head. You have to put it into a term that they can understand, right? And sometimes uh you realize like two people are never going to fully comprehend the same thing 100%, right? Like, there's always going to be different degrees to which people are going to have interest, right? And I don't know. So I think that there's something to be said for that, right? And I say that to say this, like I think a lot of what's going on is narrative construction that seems evil to a Christian, and maybe it is evil, but at the same time, I think you still have to take it on its own terms of like this is kind of the way the world is running, and if we were just to like delete narrative construction tomorrow, I don't think that suffering is going to stop because you do that. Like, in fact, suffering might increase quite a bit without it. So, again, I think this is one of these things that people have to really, first of all, read between the lines of what I'm saying because it's going to seem a little confusing. But also, secondly, like you're going to have to really like look a little bit deeper and see like, you know, a lot of what these people are saying is not. I mean, it's basically platonic through and through, where it's like, you know, they're literally just creating a narrative to get something or to manipulate people and reality into a certain direction or really maybe just to put guardrails so it doesn't go off the fucking the rails, maybe perhaps, you know what I mean? I think you just have to take that on its own terms. I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe I think you might understand what I'm saying, but it's a pretty complicated thing I'm trying to get at there because like I've watched a lot of Tafaya Singer and he's definitely and a lot of these guys, and I think there you have to look at it in different angles. It's not a straightforward whatever's going on. It's not a straightforward, easy, clear cut answer of like what exactly they're doing. You know what I mean? For sure. Like I think the whole thing going on right now with Iran is like extremely sophisticated. For an example, right?
Yeah, because you can't really parse where it's theological and where it's political and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah, yeah, and how like for example, like I think I said this recently, but um, I don't necessarily think that Iran is only a proxy war for the Middle East or even Russia. I think it's a proxy war against China, um, and I think they're trying to basically set up a situation where China is further isolated. Um, and I think they're doing that because I think China is probably the last homogeneous Eastern country that has any sort of you know uh, racial teleology that's kind of embedded into its society, right? And I think that it's kind of like Highlander. Like there can be only one race of people that have a racial teleology. You know what I'm saying? Like it is kind of a secret weapon, I would say. And again, like I'm not saying that racial teleology is good. I'm just saying that, like, again, I look at it like compartmental. I look at it like compartments on a boat, right? Like if you hit an iceberg and you flood one compartment, your ship's not going to sink. But if if you don't have compartments and you hit the iceberg, like the ship's going to fucking sink and everybody's going to die, right? So that's kind of how I view technology. That's kind of how I view liberalism. That's kind of how I view capitalism. All these different things is like, look, different ideologies kind of slow things down, right? It's the lack of diversity, if you will, that actually like accelerates things. Um, and I think the biggest deception that people have is that there is a left or a right or different ideologies, because really almost all these ideologies are kind of really just forming into one general opinion of like, I don't even know what the right term is, but nihilism for lack of a better one, and like a negative nihilism, not like a Nietzschean, like just like a general I don't give a fuck attitude. I think is kind of where all the technology is driving humans towards in the long run, right? So, anyways, I just hopefully that made some sense. I think it makes sense to you, but that's kind of what I see. That's what I see the stuff like Iran and stuff as is like I see it as like an ideological like bumper. It's pushing humans further and further because like what's Iran going to do now? Okay, now they're gonna have a gay pride parade next year in Tehran or something. I mean, is that what we're fighting for over there? I mean, again, like I probably disagree with whoever's in charge or whoever was in charge before. I'm just saying, like, if that's the like, and here's the thing is like I don't honestly like gay pride parade is like not even that offensive to me relative to like what I'm really concerned about. You know what I mean? But the point in being is that it all kind of leads to this general like fake culture of just you know identity politics and shit like that. And I think that's kind of what's coming to every country that I'm aware of right now. So that's where I think all these wars are going. That's what I think all these wars are about. Is just really just bringing home identity politics to the world, so everybody can divide and conquer themselves from the inside out, essentially. But I know you got to go soon, man. But yeah, I just wanted to. That was an interesting thought experiment there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. But yeah, man.
But yeah, what's the topic that you're about to do?
Tons of stuff from I'm gonna sew a bunch of stuff together. Honestly, we'll see who comes by, but yeah, if a lot of people don't come by, then I have a bunch of material on Parmenides, Shangzhou, Mumford and Alul, and those are the four guys I'll go with. If not, we'll talk with the people. I obviously have an introduction where I'll talk about world history and you know, um, a bunch of stuff summarizing the
The
show
spirit,
material.
the spirit of world history.
Sorta, yeah. That's part of the mix. That's one of the guys. That's one of the topics for sure, and right because it's kind of like four guys, right? Where you could look at it as Aristotle, Aquinas, Hegel, and and then you could sort of look at Nietzsche's view, right, of the entire thing, and yeah, so sort of those.
Oh yeah. Well, definitely send me a link. I would be a little bit busy because today I'm doing a little stuff. I'm gonna be cooking and shit. So, but definitely send me the link. I'll probably jump in at some time and chill. At least I'll listen. But yeah, I'm if I can add something to it, I probably will. Especially if you
Yeah.
start the panel soon.
Oh
But yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah. I'm
interesting. Yeah,
starting to.
yeah.
I mean, it's a 30-minute intro, so it's just the intro is just long as fuck. It's always like that, but but after that, for sure, yeah.
So,
But
oh yeah. All right, I'll let you go rest, man. I appreciate you. And this is a good
yeah,
conversation, even though short.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
We're starting in 5 minutes, but yeah,
All right, cool.
yeah.
Sick.
So,
Hell yeah.
say a blessing soon.
But bless you, really. Bye.
Yeah, talk to you soon.